Tessa had always smelled like failure. Not to herself, she'd grown used to the faint, fishy rot that clung to her skin no matter how many showers she took or how many pills she swallowed. But everyone else noticed. Teachers had wrinkled their noses and moved her desk to the back row. Coworkers had started leaving anonymous notes about hygiene on the break room fridge before HR quietly let her go. Dates ended before they began. Men would smile politely, then find sudden reasons to check their phones and vanish. By 32, she had no friends, no boyfriend, and a string of minimum wage jobs that never lasted longer than a paycheck. So she went online. Behind the screen, no one could smell her. She built profiles with borrowed photos and bright, witty bios. She became Lila, the adventurous hiking instructor, Sophie, the dry-humored book editor, and Mia, the girl who sent voice notes in a soft, laughing voice she practiced for hours. Men flocked to her. They told her she was beautiful. They sent flowers to fake addresses and planned futures she never intended to keep. At first, it felt like justice. Tonight, she sat cross-legged on her unmade bed, laptop glowing blue across her face. A new Mark, Daniel, 41, divorced, kind eyes in his profile picture, had just booked a one-way flight from Seattle to Newark. He'd be landing in 6 hours. Tessa had spent 3 weeks spinning him a story about a lonely artist who finally felt seen. She'd even sent him a playlist. He'd called it the most thoughtful gift anyone had ever given me. She typed the last message. Can't wait to finally hold you. Gate 3, 10:15 a.m. Wear the red shirt so I'll know it's you. Heart. Then she closed the laptop, lay back, and stared at the ceiling. The high never lasted long anymore. There used to be a sharp, electric thrill when she imagined Daniel standing at the gate with flowers, scanning every face, hope slowly curdling into confusion. Now it just felt familiar, like the same stale air she breathed every day. She rolled onto her side and opened her phone. The support group chat for Trimethylaminuria was active again. Someone had posted a long rant about being called fish girl at work. The replies poured in. I'm so sorry. You don't deserve that. You are so strong. Tessa typed nothing. She had learned that if she mentioned her diagnosis first, people stopped getting angry at the cruel things she said. They pitied her instead. Pity was easier to weaponize. She thought about Daniel again, how he'd probably cry in the airport bathroom, then text his friends that he'd been catfished, how he'd delete the photos of the woman he thought he loved, how he'd wonder what he'd done wrong. Tessa closed her eyes and tried to remember the last time anyone had looked at her without pity or disgust. She couldn't. The smell had never been the real problem. She understood that now, the way you understand something you've always known but refused to name. The smell was only the first excuse. The bitterness had done the rest, turning every conversation into a trap, every kindness into something to punish. She had built her loneliness brick by brick, and then blamed the bricks. Still, tomorrow she would wake up, check Daniel's frantic messages, and laugh that brittle laugh that had become her only company. She would feel, for a moment, powerful, on top of the world, because power was the only attention left to her. She pulled the blanket to her chin and whispered into the dark, the way she sometimes did when the apartment felt too quiet. What if I just stopped? No one answered. The room smelled faintly of fish and old regret. Outside, the first planes of the morning began their slow descent toward Newark, carrying men who still believed in the women Tessa pretended to be. Inside, Tessa lay awake, dreaming, not of revenge, but of what it might feel like to meet someone in real life and not ruin it, to smile without calculating how long it would take them to leave, to let herself be known. Maybe tomorrow she wouldn't message Daniel. Maybe tomorrow she would try something scarier than any catfish.
No!
Maybe tomorrow she would change her attitude and see if the world changed with it. But tonight, the laptop stayed closed, and the high of cruelty still hummed in her veins like the only song she knew how to sing.